Hello everyone and welcome along. It's episode 127, but more importantly, the start of the fourth season of your podcast, the Super League Pod. Okay, hello everyone, welcome along to the Super League Pod. As I said in the intro, it's episode 127 and I'm joined for the fourth year now by Mark Illingworth. How are you doing, Mark?
Series 4, Season 4, however you want to look at it.
Doesn't it feel like
it's a continuous thing?
It's flown back. Well, we've not really had an off-season, have we? We've had a bit of a break, but it doesn't feel like we've had as long an off-season as we have done in the past because we've met back a couple of times more, or one time more, with the Bradford thing. Haven't we? So we've had less and
the Christmas special was enormous. Epic in length. And,
we were record breakers.
Yeah, it's been... Weirdly though, I feel like I've had a good break from rugby league, and now now with the Steelers going out of the playoffs in the championship game, I'm ready to fully get on board with the rugby league season.
I'm looking forward to other people's rugby league because I think I've spent most of the off season just kind of pressing F5 and refreshing Twitter on either my Bulls feeds or Bulls forums and stuff, looking to see what's been going on. So actually, I've really enjoyed getting ready for this
Where are we at
season.
Now? Are we a Bulls fan for the year?
I was always chucking my toys around. If there's a Bradford club to support, I'll support them. It's not about, dipping out. There was never going to be, an issue with that. And I'm sure we'll get to that in a moment.
We've got a few Bradford-related people getting in touch when we'll get onto the championship stuff towards the back end of the show.
Shall we explain ourselves for any new listeners that might be joining us?
Who are we?
Yes.
And what do we do?
Okay. Much like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop. Who is my podcaster and what does he do? So who are you and what do you do?
Well, my name's Mark and I am a Wigan Warriors season ticket holder and I host a podcast with you.
There you go. And my name's Tom, and I am a beleaguered Bradford Bulls fan, exiled here in Lancashire, and I host a podcast with you, amongst other things. And people will get to know us, I'm sure.
If you're new to the fold, especially if you're Leigh fans, because we didn't get much from Leigh fans in on the season preview stuff, but I'm sure as the year rolls along, some more of those guys will get a bit more on board. So what we do usually through the season is we do bit of a roundup of the chat from the listeners and the SLP community out there. Mm-hmm. Then we break down the news, break down the games, the stats, the fan views of what went on, and then look forward to the next week's games, which we'll be doing along with our friends at Super Brew, who run our predictions competition this year, and have a few laughs along the way, don't we?
Yeah, we're a magazine show for all your rugby league needs, and quite frankly, I'm astounded at the quality of work we produce. We do a very good job of it too. Mark, you just alluded to people who follow us in the SLP family. There's a few ways that if you're a new listener, you can get involved with us. If Twitter's your bag, then at Super League Pod on Twitter is a great way to hit us up and let us know where you're from and who you support and what your thoughts are on all things rugby league as the show goes on. Facebook, you just search for Super League Pod on Facebook and that'll take you to our page and you can give us a like on there. And if you want to drop us something a bit longer and wordier, as we frequently get from people, then our old-fashioned email account is all one word, superleaguepod@gmail.com. So there's loads and loads of ways for you to interact with us.
It's not all one word. The @ is an @ symbol in the traditional email style.
All one word, superleaguepod @gmail.com. Thank you. And new listeners are going to pick up on Mark's pedantry rather quickly.
And there's lots of ways.
Suspect.
if you've clicked on a link or found us some other way, there's lots of ways you can get onto us. So the bargain basement hosting service we use is Spreaker.
Yes.
So you can follow us there and get the new episodes, get alerts for the new episodes as soon as they come online.
Download them quickly, Mitchell, if you're listening.
You'll usually get an episode of a Tuesday morning. You can get us on iTunes if you're an Apple person. You can get the RSS feed link and play us through there. You can get the Leaguecast app if you're an Android person, and we are on there with all your other favourite rugby league podcasts.
Any other podcatcher that you've got pretty much will pick us up as well. I use podcast forget what it's called now, but a completely different
Podcast
one.
Addict.
Something like that, yeah. I'll have a look in a little while. My phone's
And then
on
you
the
can
floor.
also listen to us on White Line Fever Radio.
Yes.
You'll see links from that on our Twitter feed and stuff.
We've grown massively in the last 3 and a bit years. So, that's us. The next thing I can see on... Oh, the Leigh fans thing. Yeah, let's get some Leigh fans on board. Do you remember, like, early days in the podcast, I kind of had a running bit myself, really, that the people from Hull didn't have a lot of internet and couldn't get in touch. And now, look how many wonderful Hull fans.
Yeah.
I don't have to roll that joke out for, like, this little borough of Wigan and try and provoke some people into getting in touch with the show. So if you're listening and you are a Leither, please get in touch and let us know your thoughts, because this must be a tremendously exciting time for you for at least the next 12 months. So we'd love to hear from you.
Well, 9.5.
Yeah, probably.
No, we'll see. And so obviously the last episode we had was the Bradford Bulls special, or
moratorium, I guess. No, yeah. Autopsy.
I was surprised and pleased by the amount of downloads and plays that the episode had. It wasn't reaching the numbers we were getting towards the back end of the season, but I think there was more niche interest in it. But
of course.
Thanks for everyone for their involvement and getting on board with that.
Particularly the lads who got in touch and spent time letting us interview them as well.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And Dominic as well.
They've thrown in some, I think they've given us predictions for the new season, so we'll get to those later on.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And of course,
I had a birthday.
You had a birthday.
I'd like to thank everyone over the new for the birthday wishes.
I feel like it was a nice gesture to make a little e-card. I don't understand what the problem was. Plus, it brought you and Emma closer.
Well, we're pretty close. We're married. And,
closer still.
You know,
you could bond over there. Oh, don't worry, you're not as bald as him. I'm trying to look at your hair. Yeah, it's still there.
It's the same as it was.
It's the same as it always was.
Yeah.
Very good. Beard's had a trim though. Look very smart.
Yeah, and younger. I always think when I trim my beard, it takes a bit off. Which every little helps. As everyone will remember from the back end of last year when you pointed out how aged I apparently was now. The last little bit of admin to do then before we roll into the show is how this episode's going to be structured.
Yeah, because this is our season preview, isn't it? So it's not going to follow the usual format.
No. So we are going to there was prediction polls that we ran for the last couple of weeks, 10 days or so. We're going to run the results of those. We're not going to talk too much about our own guesses for those, because let's tease it a little bit and get them out as the show goes along. And
between segments, you can remind me what I said, which would be great.
Well, I don't know what you said.
I'll have to think back. I can find it.
Right,
I wrote it down somewhere.
You're an idiot.
Do you not keep a log of these things?
I do, but I didn't bother bringing it along because I gave you plenty of stuff to write your stuff down. So you don't remember who you picked to win the cup and who you picked to get promotion and relegation.
Oh yeah, I've got all that stuff.
Yeah, you have your balls.
I've got all that. So I've got who I picked to win the cup.
Then we'll do a team-by-team Super League preview. We're going to do it in reverse order. So start with the new boys Leigh, end with the champions Wigan, and do a sort of circular route around Super League from Wigan back to Wigan.
A bit of a bus journey, isn't it, really?
We will then cover off what we've got from our friends and listeners and who support Championship and League One clubs, and we'll give our little predictions for those regions. In terms of when we look at each team in the Super League, we're going to do a little bit of a quickish chat on our overall thoughts on the team, give our who we think is the key man for that team, and also who we think is a player to look out for, as a rising kind of player in those ranks, and then give our predictions for that team for the Super League, for the Super 8s, or and then for the Cup as well. Then go through the fan comments we've had for all those clubs. Then once we've done that and the Championship ones, we'll round it out with the new segment, the Say What?
Very good.
There you go.
You've been practicing. Well done.
Which is obviously a few like sillier predictions and or a bit more out there predictions that people have made. Although, every Wakefield fan who thinks they're going to finish in the top 6.
Say what?
It's just like a default. And Widnes fans saying probably top 8, maybe 9th if we're unlucky.
I've got to admire your positivity, boys. Admire it. We'll get there though.
Most Hull fans think they're going to do the treble. Most Catalan fans think they're going to do at least a double. Everyone's very optimistic for their team.
It's the start of the new year,
but we have to place them all. So you're not all going to be in the top 8, kids. But enjoy that, and then that'll be the show.
Wonderful. Okay, right. So shall we talk then about the results of the prediction polls first of all, Mark? Right, well, I wasn't expecting that musical interlude, as you can probably tell. But here we are for the results of our prediction polls. Now, this was something that you ran on a Google form, wasn't it, Mark? So talk us through what we were asking for and what the results were.
Winners of the major things, the major promotion relegation events, who's going to feature in those stories. So the first question was, who is going to win the Challenge Cup this year? Who's going to replace the current holders, Hull FC, potentially, or will they retain? So we picked it. We used the favourites as per Ladbrokes, the title sponsor's website, and then gave people the option to, tell us that their own club's going to win, basically. If they disagreed with the favourites. And actually, the team that came out on top in this was Castleford, 26%.
Which was the team that got my vote.
No, it wasn't.
It was?
No, it wasn't.
That's
You voted for St Helens. So
I've changed since then. Hang on, I've written Castleford here. My most up-to-date one is Castleford.
Right.
Oh no, hang on, I've got them making the final. I'll get back to you.
But anyway, St
Helens wouldn't be a bad shout.
We'll cover our team when we're going through the team by teams.
Yes.
For these, but 26% of people, so more than a quarter of the voters, went with Castleford. St Helens and Warrington both got 18% each. Wigan 14%, and then Hull FC 12%. They were the major vote getters.
Okay.
In the minor vote getters category were 3 votes each for Catalan, Leeds, and Huddersfield. 2 for Wakefield. And then also votes went to 1 for Widnes, Hull KR and London. They all got a vote from Widnes, Hull KR and London fans respectively. Love
your ambition, boys. You've got to aim for the stars.
There you go.
And it's not beyond the realms of possibility that one of these teams gets to a final.
It's in the say what category, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. I think London fans probably need to check themselves before they wreck themselves on that one.
I think they've got quite a good squad this year.
They've got an exceptionally good squad for the Championship, so that means there's at least, let's say, 13 teams who are probably better on paper than them.
Well, the second category we have anyway was the grand final winner. So we gave you the option to pick for any of the 12 Super League sides. No votes were cast for Leigh, Salford, Wakefield or Widnes in this. There was a runaway winner, and it was for Wigan Warriors to retain the trophy. 44% of the votes went their way. 20% of voters thought that it will be Warrington's year. Then Hull FC and St Helens 12%. Castleford were sort of minor vote getters with 4%, and then a few teams scratched around. 3 votes actually for Huddersfield, 2 votes for Catalan and Leeds. Interesting thing to note: a third of all Super League fans actually picked their own side to win the league this year.
Well,
to win the grand final.
Yeah, that's not massively surprising, I wouldn't have said. One that always causes great debate, though, is the Steve Prescott Man of Steel Awards. How have we gone with the predictions for that? Well,
the shortlist was drawn up from Super League title sponsor Betfred's odds list of favourites, so we just picked the top 5 or 6 of those, and of those, the favourite for the award is John Bateman, and he was the favourite amongst our voters too. 22% went for John Bateman. George Williams, another Wigan player, he got 14% of the vote, closely followed by Luke Gale 12%, Chris Hill 9%, Darryl Clark 6%. So people think it's going to pretty much more than likely come from Wigan or Warrington, but Luke Gale had an epic season last year, and if he repeats those feats this year, it will cement his candidacy as well. Votes, 3 votes went to each of Ellis, Gidley, Kelly and Hardacre. Injured currently Ben Curry and McAlorum got 2 votes. Roby, Farrell and Escaray joined them on 2 votes. Votes were also made for Andy Lynch, Ben Roberts, Corey Thompson, Danny Brough, is it Josh Drinkwater?
Yes.
Luke Douglas, Mark Snade, Matt Parcell, Matty Smith, Rangi Chase, Ryan Morgan, Scott Taylor, Stefan Radford, Tom Johnston, and Tony Gigo. Guess who?
It's got to be Al.
Guess who went Gigo?
It's got to be Al who goes. He goes full Gigo every week.
There you go.
I don't know what he sees in him, to be perfectly honest, but okay.
It's quite. It's decent. Can you remember who you voted for? Any ideas?
I suspect I voted for Bateman.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Bateman seems like, well, it's what I'm going for now.
I went off list. So I voted for someone who I've not named who no one else has voted for.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for Anthony Gelling.
Man of Steel,
yes.
Gelling.
Do you know why